before we get into the video, I just want to say that I recommend that you fill this out on the computer as opposed to a mobile device. What's up everyone? Today I will be making a tutorial on how to fill out what is called the Effective Paths worksheet. This is a spreadsheet that I was put onto recently. It is basically just a spreadsheet that gives an optimal upgrade path for 3 different sections such as Econ, Damage, and Health. In other words, giving you what would, I guess, be the best ROI at the time or the best bang for your buck in terms of what you currently have. There are a bunch of sections that need to be filled out, such as your lab, your workshop, your modules, your cards, etc. I'm going to throw the link of this in the description. When you first open up the sheet, you're going to have a screen that looks like this. This is a Google Sheets worksheet. So when you first open up the link, it's going to ask you to copy the document. So you click make a copy, as you will need to make your own copy of this sheet in order to proceed, because you can't use the original. Once the copy loads, you can go ahead and give it your own name up in the top left, such as such. This is what the sheet looks like on the intro page. If you look at the bottom, there are a bunch of sections such as homepage, IDs, master sheet, and then there's the 3 sections. They're broken down into EHP, eDamage, and Econ. Every sheet is going to have an IDs and a master sheet section for the most part, and we will have to focus on the IDs and master sheet for all of these separate sheets. This is just the main sheet, and for this one, the master sheet will basically give you, I guess you could say, like a summary of everything from your labs, your workshop stuff, along with your workshop plus, if you have that unlocked, in other words, enhancements, your ultimate weapons, etc., your cards and all. Just a heads up though, do not update anything on this sheet. If you need to update something for the labs or for the workshop upgrade or for the workshop enhancement, etc., you will need to do that on that separate sheet, separately, on that specific sheet, which I will go over shortly. Now, on the home page here, also, if you look up top, there is the current version and the latest one. If there ever is an update to this sheet, it'll appear here, the number. So if your current version is older than the latest one, you would have to hover your mouse here and grab the latest one, and then all you would do then is put all the IDs from the old sheet into this one, which I will get to right now. So now the first part of this sheet will involve, there's going to be an IDs section in the Effective Paths sheet. And if you look up top, there are a bunch of sections such as Lab, Workshop, Ultimate Weapons, Themes and Songs, Bots, Relics, Vault. And these are all considered optional sheets. And then the 2 at the bottom that are mandatory are cards and modules. If you're not in Legends League in tournaments, or you are and you have not bought any keys in the vault, you do not need to fill out the vault section. The relics part, you don't really have to fill out as well, but it'll give you a little bit more accurate representation of lab time, etc., because I know there's certain relics for lab speed and damage, etc. Same thing for the themes and songs. You don't have to fill that one out, but if you want to get a more accurate representation, it would help to fill these out. Okay, so now looking at this, for each sheet, there's a section here that says copy me, which will give you a link to that sheet. And then here it says, please input your lab URL/ID. There's a URL ID for each sheet. Basically, all we're going to be doing is we're going to be hovering over to the copy me for each of these sheets and taking the copied link and putting it in this section here. So for example, for laboratory URL, I'm going to hover over to copy me and click on this blue text here. It's going to open up a brand new tab, and then we need to make a copy of this sheet. This is the laboratory sheet. So once we make a copy of this, we're going to take the link up here, up top that I selected, and copy it. So we're going to copy that. I'm just going to press Control C, and then if we navigate back to the path sheet. We're going to paste it up top here. Now, when you do that, this part's going to say loading. And then now, when you hover your mouse over it, there's going to be a thing saying that you need to connect these spreadsheets. So you will need to click Allow Access. And then once that's done, this will have a checkbox. When we start filling in info in this sheet, this number will update here. Here it says labs done 0. That's because we didn't put anything in yet. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to create all the copies of these sheets and put the links of them into here. So now I'll do the workshop. Same exact thing. We're going to make a copy. This is going to open up in a brand new tab. And just to organize, I'm just going to move this over like that. And then we take this link up top, we copy it. And then put it down here, we paste it. Here it's going to say loading again. And we just click Allow Access. Once that's done, you'll see the checkbox. Now, you will just do this for the rest of these. I'm going to go ahead and finish these, and then we'll move down to the next part. Okay, so once all of the IDs are filled out, they should all have a green checkbox next to them, meaning that they're connected to the main effective path sheet. We can proceed on to the next part. Also, I also renamed all of my sheets to say _tutorial at the end, just so I know which ones to look for. To rename the sheet, you could just hover your mouse over here, and you can click on the title and change it to anything you want, and then just click outside of it to rename the sheet. So first, we are going to start with the laboratory sheet. So now that the sheets are all linked to the main effective path sheet, all I'm going to do is I could just go to the sheet as I opened up a new tab for us. I'm just going to go to the laboratory sheet, which will look something like this now. Now, for each sheet, you want to first go to the IDs section at the bottom. So for this sheet here, if I go to IDs, there are 2 sheets that need to be linked to this sheet. One is the Relics and one is the Vault. So these are the sheets that we made a copy of. So as I was saying earlier, the Vault you don't have to do if you didn't unlock anything in it in Legends League. But the Relics one, you can put in there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the tab where I made a copy of the Relics sheet, and I'm going to copy that link and then go back to the laboratory sheet and paste it in. And then we need to give this access, of course. So I'm just going to wait for this to appear and then click Allow Access. And then now the second part is the master sheet. So this is the part that generally takes the longest. I'm going to zoom in here just so this is easier to see. Generally, this is the part that takes the longest because you need to go into your laboratory and you need to basically write down the level of every upgrade in your lab, starting with the main stuff like game speed, lab speed, etc. So if you notice, there is a level column and a target column and then a max level column. The current level of the upgrade you're going to put in the level column. If you have a specific upgrade and you want to get it to a certain level, such as if your lab speed is 15 and you want to get it to 30, you would put 30 for the target level. Now, if the upgrade is already maxed out, then you would put the max level in the level section. So for example, I'm going to be going off of my lab stats. My game speed is maxed, so I'm just going to put 7, and then I'm just going to go down the list. The easiest way to find the level of everything is you will need to go into your lab. So for me, if I just go back to my game real fast, the easiest way is to go to the stat itself, and you could either click on it and go by the level number that's shown at the bottom, or just take the number that you see here, such as for starting cash, it says level 18. You could just take that and subtract it by 1, because obviously 18 would be the level that it's going to, not the current level. So for this, for starting cash, I'm just going to set that to 17. And I don't have a target level for that. Now, so basically, all you do here is you'll be filling out every stat for your main, your attack, your defense labs, basically all of the labs. Also here under the, I believe these are the card labs, there's a card mastery section. If you don't have any of the masteries unlocked, skip this part in green. You don't need to fill it out. Then after that, you have the perks lab, the enemies lab, well, the bot lab, the enemies lab, then you have the modules lab. There's a section here that says lab speed and thorns. This part will be blank until you fill out the relic sheet. And if you have any relics for lab speed and thorns, it'll show up here, and this will update the effective path sheet for how long the upgrades will take, because it'll go off of this along with your lab speed level. So now you would just fill all of these out. I'm going to go ahead and fill these out, and just so that you don't have to see me fill everyone out, I'm just going to skip to the end, and then we can proceed on to the next part.
A few moments later.
Now, once the laboratory sheet is filled out, we can move on to the next part, which is the workshop. Also, before we proceed, I just wanted to point out, any lab stats that are maxed out will show up slightly as a slightly darker square than the regular ones. So for me, since game speed is maxed, it shows up a little bit different than the other ones because that's max level. So every time you start maxing out your lab upgrades, they're going to show up as a darker color than the other squares. Now also with this sheet, I wanted to point out, for some reason, the defense percent and defense absolute, they have pre-filled in a target level. So for defense, they put in level 23, and defense absolute, I believe, was level 15. You don't need to keep those in. You could remove those. I just thought it was interesting that those were in there. I left the defense to target 23 because I myself eventually want to get my defense percent to level 23. And so now we will move on to the workshop sheet, as that is the second one on the path sheet. So I arranged all the sheets in order by tabs. So now let's move over to the workshop sheet. And first things first, we have to go through the IDs. And if you notice on this one, there are 3 sheets that need to be linked to this sheet: the laboratory, the vault, and the modules. As I was saying earlier, if you don't have the vault, don't worry about that. But as you're beginning to see, the lab sheet needs to be a part of the majority of these sheets. So first things first, we're going to take the lab URL from the previous sheet and copy that. And we're going to put it here. Give it access. And along with the modules sheet as well, we're going to take that one and then go back to the workshop sheet, paste it in. Also now, because I filled out the lab sheet, the number here, it did update. It says here labs done 11:30 for me. And then now we will go ahead to the master sheet, and now we will go ahead and fill in the workshop sheet. Generally, first thing you want to do is list all of the things you have unlocked in the workshop. If you have everything unlocked in the workshop, you're just going to click all of these boxes. Basically, these are when you first get the workshop, when you start the game. Obviously, you have to unlock all of the different abilities for damage and health, etc. So since I have everything unlocked, I'm going to start to... You will click the checkbox here to unlock those set of stats. So for multi-shot, I'm going to click this box to unlock multi-shot stuff. Same for the rapid fire, bounce, super critical. And since I have rend unlocked, I'm going to click the one for rend armor. And I'm just going to do this for the rest of these since I have everything unlocked. Now, the ones that you don't have unlocked, don't click on the checkbox to unlock that just yet. So if you don't have the wall unlocked, you would skip this one. Just like how if you didn't have rend armor unlocked, it would look like this still. You would not click on this box. This is just for the stuff that you have unlocked in the workshop. So since I have everything unlocked, I'm just going to click all these boxes. And now we're going to fill out the left side of this sheet. As you can see, there's two parts. There's the workshop upgrade section and there's the workshop enhancement section. If you do not have workshop enhancements, you do not need to fill out this part in the middle where it says workshop enhancement. So you could skip that. So now for this part here, There are two level sections. There is a cash level, there's a coins level, and there is what they call a cash level. So for the first level column, the coins level, you're going to go back to your game and you're going to list the current level of that stat in the workshop. So for example, for damage, if I go back to my game and I click on damage, my current level is 5,588. So then what I will do is in here, I will put 5588. And then for the cash level, this represents the level that you get it up to in your run. Assuming that you have free upgrades, you could just set this to max level, depending on how far you are. If you don't max out everything in game, just give it a rough estimate. But for me, I usually max this out in game, so I'm just going to set this to 6,000. And then you would just do the rest of these. And so my attack speed, since I do have a devoed workshop, my attack speed, I start off as 0 and I get it to max later on. Crit chance, I have this maxed as well, and so forth. And then so you would go ahead and fill all these in. I'll go ahead and skip to the end once these are all filled in. Okay, now that the workshop section on the left is filled out, just to show here, everything is all filled out to the best of my ability. Usually I max out everything in game, so that's why the second column is all of the max levels for every stat. Now, since I have the workshop enhancement, I'm going to fill out this part now. So for this, you would start at the top with the damage section, and then move your way down to the health, and then to the utility section. As you fill in the stats from top to bottom, it'll unlock the other stats underneath. So for damage, I'm going to start at the top. If I go to my enhancements real fast, my damage, it says 1.41. The way to figure out the level is just click on the stat, and here it says 41. So what I'm going to do is, if I click on every stat, I would put that number in where it says WS plus, like this, and it will come up with the multiplier for that stat. And then also now, since I did that, it unlocked the rend armor stat, the crit factor stat, and the damage per meter stat. So now for these, I'm just going to fill these out real quick with my stats. So this is 29, this is 45, and as you can see here, if I delete this real fast, for what I have entered, it tells you how many more coins you would need to spend to unlock the next stat in the Workshop Plus. So here it says I need 30.9 trillion to unlock the Super Crit Plus. So if I put in 45 again for Critical Factor, because that's what I have it set as, now it's unlocked. Damage per meter, I had that set to 31. Super Crit Multi, 36. And Attack Speed Plus, I don't have unlocked yet. It says here I need to spend another 437 trillion. So I'm not there yet. Next, we'll do the health real fast. So we got 45, 40, 32, 31, and 39. And then utilities, same thing. Cash bonus 37. Coin bonus is 19. Cells kill is 17. Free upgrades is 6. And then here, if I wanted to unlock the recovery packages enhancement, I would need to spend another 2.97 trillion for this one. And then also here, this just shows some stuff from your lab sheet. This just shows that you have enhancements unlocked. And then this shows your level of the workshop utility discount, the current level and the max level. And then here it shows the levels of the attack level skip labs that you've done in the lab. So I only done one upgrade into enemy attack level skip in the lab. I'm definitely going to do more of that in the future, but for the sake of this video, I just wanted to show what this says. Now that this sheet is done, if we go back to the IDs, the next section is the ultimate weapons. So now, if we go over to, we'll go over to the ultimate weapons sheet that we made a copy of. And first things first, we take care of the IDs. Now, for this one, you need to link your laboratory and your modules sheet that you made a copy of. So first, let's go back to the laboratory sheet, copy this link, and we're going to put it in here and give it access. And then we're going to go to the module sheet, make a copy of that, and then go back to it, paste in that link here, hover over here again and give it access. And then now we're going to move over to the master sheet for the ultimate weapons. Now for this sheet here, it's going to list all of the ultimate weapons like this. The ultimate weapons that you do have unlocked, you're going to click on this box next to where it says UW locked. So I have chain lightning, so I'm going to click this box. I have smart missiles, so I'm going to click this box. I have death wave, so I'm going to click this box. I have chrono fields, I click that box. I do not have inner landmines, so I will not click that box. I have the golden tower, the black hole, and the spotlight. Now, we have to fill in the attributes. The easiest way to fill these out is to go to your ultimate weapons workshop, and for each level, I go off the value where it says next. So if we go back to my game real fast, for the chain lightning damage, the next cost, which by that I mean the amount of stones needed for the next upgrade for damage, is 302 stones. So with that info, if I go back to my sheet now, I'm going to click on the drop down and look for next 302. It looks like it's this, which means that the damage is currently leveled 19 for this ultimate weapon, and the cost was 252, and the next is 302. And then now I'm just going to do that for the rest of these. So the quantity, I have 4. The chance, I have 20%, which is this. Now, the bottom thing is if you have the ultimate weapon plus for that ultimate weapon. For this smite, I don't have this unlocked, so I'm going to skip this. And then we're just going to do this for the rest of the ultimate weapons. Also, this level thing's a little hidden, so I'm just going to expand that just so it's easier to see. If you go like this, you could expand it like that, so you could see the full breakdown of each stat. Basically, here it just says the value, the cost, and the next cost. So now you're going to fill these out for the rest of the ultimate weapons to the best of your ability. If you're in the middle of a run, you may have to wait till your run is over just to accurately fill this out as much as you can. But I'm going to go ahead and fill this out now, and we will jump ahead when this is all finished. Alright, now everything is all filled out. As you can see here, all of the ultimate weapon info is filled out. Next, we are going to proceed over to the themes and songs sheet, as I believe that's next. Yep, so now we're going to do the themes and song. This sheet is optional. You don't need to fill this one out, but this will give you a more accurate representation of how long things will take in terms of lab speed, etc., and along with your bonuses. So now for this list here, what you would do is you would have to go through all of your tower skins, and whatever ones you do have, you're going to click a checkbox. So you're going to click on the checkbox next to it. So this one, just fill out to the best of your ability. If you're not sure, this is another one where if you're in the middle of a run, you may have to wait till after. So the easiest way to do this would be to, if you go back to your game, if you go to your profile and then you go to themes, and you can start with tower, and then basically you would go through all of your tower skins, and just from top to bottom, you would see whatever's on the list and see if you have that in game, and then the ones that you have, you would just check the box of them. So I have Star, I have Eye of the Lord, so I'm going to check those. I have Alien, I have Water Droplet, I have Cherry Blossom, and I have the Shuriken skin as well, which I believe is somewhere else on the list. Yes, because that's a tower skin. I also have the Donut, which is a tier 2 skin, the Yin Yang skin, which is a tier 3 skin, and the Smile, which is a tier 4 skin. So all of these, I just marked all of these off. So if I go back to the list here, I clicked on the checkbox for all of them. Some of them were tower skins, and some of them were, well, from the tiers, and some of them were from events. The ones in the blue section are from events, and the ones in the maroon section, these are from the tier milestones, basically. All right. And then so also here down at the bottom, if you have any of the songs, you would click on the check boxes for them. If you bought the Guardian skin in the guild shop, you would click this box. And then if you have the menu skin, the Dark Being skin, you would click this. And then so we're going to go ahead and fill this out completely, and I will jump ahead to when this is finished. Okay, now that I have completed this whole sheet, here it'll show the total bonuses. Now, this number here at the bottom should represent your theme bonus as it's shown in game, such as when you click on the coins bonus here. So I'll just switch back to my game real fast. Where it says themes bonus, it should equal up to the total. It should equal up to the total here for this. And then here, there's another section here called Events Timeline if you want to look through this. This is just a list showing all of the past events and when they began, like the date that they began, like the start date for them. As you can see, the last event was the Faster Than Light, which was a rerun event, because as you can see here, Faster Than Light shows up again. It came out around March 19th of 2024, so this was a rerun event. As for the next event, I don't know what it's going to be. Anyway, so now this one's finished. Now we can move on to the next sheet, which is the bots sheet, I believe. Yep. So now we're going to move on to the bots sheet. So now I'm going to move over to the bot sheet tab, and starting with the IDs, which we have to fill out. There are 4 that we need to fill in. The vault one I'm going to skip as usual because I don't have anything in the vault. So first, we have to link the lab, the relics, and the modules sheet that we made a copy of. So let's start with the laboratory sheet again. Copy this. And we're going to put that here. Give it access. We're going to do the relics sheet as well. So the relics sheet. We're going to give that access, and the module sheet. So we're going to copy that one too, and paste it in right there. And we are going to, just to scroll down real fast, we're going to allow access to that. As you can see, we're starting to run into a pattern here where every sheet we have to put in. We do the IDs first, and we have to link other sheets so that they all point to the main effective path sheet. So that, and usually they update in real time when you update those sheets. So now that these are all filled out, we're going to go to the master sheet. So now for the bots sheet, for the master sheet, all you're going to do is the bots you have unlocked, you're going to click on the checkbox for them. So if you have the flame bot, you're going to click on this box, and then you're going to do these. You're going to complete these 4 stats: the damage, the cooldown, damage. The damage are the cooldown, the damage, and the range. I don't have that bot. I have the golden bot and the amplify, so I'm going to click on these 2. Why I have the amplify bot? Well, let's just say I didn't make a lot of smart decisions in the past while playing this game, so now I'm stuck with it. Might as well use it. Okay, so now, as I was saying before, with the ultimate weapons, with the stone upgrade, the easiest way to choose the correct stat for the bot stuff is to go to your event shop, and starting with the duration, if we click on the drop down next to it, I like to go by the next cost, which is basically the metal cost for the next upgrade. So for example, for my duration, if we go back to my game real fast, my duration, the next cost is 180 for me. It's 180 metals. So with that being said, I'm going to select next 180 for this. And I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of these. So my cooldown, same thing, it's 180 as well. So next 180. My bonus is next is 380. And my range, the next is 580. So I'm going to select 580 from the drop down like that. Now also these numbers, I believe these numbers show the base stat for each. If you have any relics that boost these, it's not going to show that here. If you do have a relic that will boost any of these, it'll show up here when we do the relic sheet. So here there is a section that says bot range. I believe I have a relic that increases the bot range, so that will show up here once we fill out the relic sheet. So now that the bot part is, oh, well, the golden bot is filled out. Now I just have to fill out for the amplify bot. So same thing. So that next is 100. Next, these are all 100, and then the range is next 140 for this. And now, since for the bot, we can get a preview of what the path would look like. There's a section here that says golden bot path and amplify bot path. If I go to golden bot path, this is what it would look like. Something like this. So this is saying generally that for me to get the most ROI out of my golden bot currently, I should do the bonus in the event shop 2 times. And here where it says running metals, this shows the total amount of metals that'll be spent to get to that upgrade. So here it says I should do my bonus to level 8 and then 9 and then do the range to level 13 and then the bonus, then the cooldown, and then the range again. Now, obviously, take this with a grain of salt. If you want to do the range first, that's fine. That's your choice. This is just a reference to go off of. And then same thing for Amplify Bot. This is what it would look like for me. So it's telling me that I should do the bonus and then the range and then the bonus again and then the range and the bonus range, etc. Okay. Now that the bot sheet is completed, if we go back to the main sheet, the next sheet would be the Relics Sheet. So let's go to the Relics Sheet now. And there's only one section here that says Relics. Now, for this section, the easiest way to fill this out would be to go to your profile in-game, and then where it says Relics, you would have to, so if I go back to my game, the easiest way would be to go to Relics here, and then all of your relics are shown from rare all the way down to legendary, rare being at the top. So this list is in order by the rarity. So rare is up top and all the legendaries are at the bottom. So what you can do is you could start from top to bottom, and then for each relic that you have, you're going to click on the unlocked box. So if I go back here just to show you, it starts here at the top with the rare relics, and then all the way at the bottom you have the legendary. So starting from the top, if we go back to my game, this part is very tedious. You don't have to fill it out, but if you want to, this is how you would fill it out. You would just look at your relics and then click on them. Usually they're in order. So my first relic is the copper badge, so I'm just going to check that off. The next one I have is the silver badge, so I'm going to click this one, followed by the flux, and so forth. And then followed by the lumen, which I have as well. Also, I just realized that I didn't go back to the sheet. So what I was saying was the copper badge I have, the silver badge I have, and the flux I have. So I'm going to click these. I have the lumen because I completed tier 2. I have the pulse, the harmonic, and the ether. And then I also have these two as well. First and second tower birthday. And then so you would generally just go down the list of all the relics that you have, and you would just click on the ones that you have. You would click on the unlocked box for the ones that you have. Just so you don't have to sit here and watch me click all of them, I'm going to go ahead and go through them now, and then I will jump to when this is all completed. Alright, now the relics section is fully filled out. All of the unlocked relics that I have, I click the checkbox on them, and once this section is filled out, you could see here there's a table on the right side that shows all of your relic bonuses. So like for me, my lab speed relic now bonus is 19.5%. I guess the total is the total, like the maximum amount that you could get with all the relics in the game. They have a section for damage, one for defense, and one for utility. And then at the bottom, there's like just like a head count of like how many event relics you have, how many guild relics and other relics, etc. And then by the rarity, rare, epic, and legendary. Now that we're done the relics, we can move on now to the, I believe next is the cards. Since we're not doing Vault, we're going to move straight into the card sheet. So I will go over to that right now. This is what the card sheet looks like. There's an IDs section, a master sheet, and a card preset section. There's also a card and mastery tracker. If you don't have card mastery, don't worry about that right now. So if we go to the IDs, we need to link the laboratory sheet again and the vault. But since we didn't do the vault, we're going to skip that. So I'm going to go back to the laboratory sheet and paste that in up here again. And then we're going to give it access. And now we could go to the master sheet. Now for the card sheet, all we do here is we basically just have to put how many card slots we have unlocked here with gems. I have 17 slots. I'm going to select 17. And then here, this is just the card levels. So all you need to do here is after you select your card slot, you're going to select the level of each card from 1 to 7. And the way to find that is you go to the card, you click on it as such. And whatever level it shows here is the level that you put in. So my damage is level 7. So I'm going to mark that as such. So if we go back to the sheet here, I'm going to mark the damage as level 7. All of my cards are maxed, so I am just going to set these all to 7 right now. Actually, I'll just skip ahead so that you don't have to see this part. Okay, now that this section is complete, as you can see here, I filled it out completely. All my cards are maxed out, so I just put level 7 for each card. Now, if we go over to the card preset section, which is next to the master sheet for the card sheet, there are a bunch of columns here that say farming. One says tourney. So what you're going to do here is, for your farming setup, you're generally going to, you're just going to put the cards that you use when you farm. So for me, I use the following. Since I use Orb Devo, these are all the cards I use at the end of the run. In the beginning of the run, I take out a couple of these cards, obviously for different farming reasons, of course, but mine would look so for the farming. So here, if you notice here, from 1 through 17 is green. That's because I put that I have 17 card slots. Depending on how many card slots you have, that number is going to show green up to that number for the card slot. So since I have 17 card slots, I'm going to select the cards that I have for my current farming setup. Starting with the commons, it would be coins, critical coin, if I could find it. Obviously, I'm blind, I guess. We have extra defense, somewhere along the line. Also, if you want, you can type in the card name here, and it should bring it up. Okay. And then that's for the farming. For the tourney, basically, you're going to list the cards that you use when you're doing a tournament run. So I'm just going to put whatever for this, just for the sake of this video. So I'm just going to put damage, attack speed, and then we have energy shield. And it looks like I missed a card. Oh, right, attack speed. Okay. And so it would look like that. And then last but not least, now that the cards are complete, now we're going to do the modules, I believe. Yes, now we're going to do the modules section. So for the modules sheet, starting with the IDs, We have to link the laboratory again and the vault. Since I don't have the vault, I'm going to skip that again, as I was saying earlier. So we go back to the lab sheet. We're going to copy that, and we're going to paste it in here like this. And then we're going to give it access. Now, there is a master sheet for the modules. All this shows is the module labs that you did, the effect band labs. Here, I put one upgrade into the core effect bands. Why? I don't know. It was a while ago. The section we need to focus on is the modules presets. Now, there's two different sections here. There's a farming and a tournament section. So what you would do is there's a section for the cannon, one for the armor. If I just zoom out a little bit just to show you. The cannon, the armor, the generator, and the core modules for the farming and the tourney section. You could also make a third preset and name it whatever you want. It's up to you. You don't have to, that's up to you. But for this sake, we're just going to focus on the farming and the tourney section. The reason why you would want to fill out these both is because for one of the path sheets, there's an option to choose which module preset you use, whether it's the farming or the tournament, and I believe the path sheet will change according to whatever preset you choose. Now, keep in mind, if you choose the tournament one, it's going to take into effect that you're running a tournament setup, so it's not going to factor in things such as perks, etc. Now, starting with the farming, what you're going to do is, for each one, you're going to have to select the module name, and then the rarity, and then you would key in the level, and then you would select the abilities from the drop-down menu here, and then the rarity. And then the stats here on the right side will fill in. They will fill in by itself. So for me, my first module for the cannon, I have a Astral Deliverance. It is Ancestral. It is level 109, so I'm going to type 109 for the level and then press enter. As you can see here, the stat updates saying that I do 3.070 times damage with it. And I'm just going to select the abilities that I have. So it looks like I have critical chance, I have attack speed, I have super crit multiplier, and I also have critical factor. Also, you could also type the effect here, and it'll show up like that. And then, now that I've selected all the effects, I have to select the rarity for each effect. So, the critical chance is legendary. Attack speed is ancestral. Critical factor is ancestral as well. And the super crit multiplier is mythic. And as you can see here, it fills in the stats for them. So now we're going to do the core. Same exact thing. The easiest way to do this is to basically go to the module screen in your game as such, and then just click on the module, and this gives you everything you need to know, such as the level of it, the effects, and the rarity of the effects. So now if I go back to the browser here, I'm just going to fill this out as such. So I have an anti-cube. It is Mythic Plus for the rarity. And the effects I have are, I have health regen. I have defense percent. I have landmine damage, so I'm going to type in landmine damage. And then I have wall health. Wall health is legendary. Landmine damage is currently epic. I want to get rid of this effect, so yes, I know it's not very good, but I want to get rid of it eventually. I just don't have the tokens right now. But anyways, moving on. Defense percent is mythic. And health regen is mythic. And then I'll go ahead and I will fill out the other two, and then we will move on to the next part. Okay, now that the farming preset is filled out, as you can see here, everything's all filled out for all of these. Actually, whoops, I forgot to put the levels in. So my multiverse is 110 and my galaxy compressor is level 100, capped at level 100. And now I will go ahead and do the tournament preset real quick. It's basically similar to this one with some slight differences. Now, for this one, for the tourney preset, you would set up your modules for the setup that you use for a tournament run. If you use the same exact setup as the farming preset, then you would just put the same exact stuff here. Unfortunately, you can't really copy it over, so you have to basically do everything again manually, one by one, which is unfortunate, but oh well, it is what it is. That's one of the drawbacks about this sheet, because it's very tedious. So I'll go ahead and I will fill these out real quick, and then we will move on to the next part. All right, I just finished filling out the tournament preset. Also, I forgot to mention earlier, I forgot to put the level of the anti-cube module over here for the armor module. Now, if you add the same exact module into the second column, it'll automatically put the same level as it is in the left column. So when I added the Astral, it automatically set it to level 109, and it'll do the same for the rest. So as you can see here, the tournament section is fully filled out. The only difference is the last two modules. Instead of the G Comp, I use the project funding, and then instead of the multiverse, I use Dimension Core with all the different abilities. Okay, and then here is a section called Mods Obtained, where any modules that you pull, you can put here if you want, and I guess it keeps track of like the average gems required for another epic or something like that. So recently I pulled one Astral Deliverance. I'll put a 1 here for the pulled. I pulled 2 BHDs, which I guess stands for Black Hole Digester, I think. I forget what it stands for. I pulled a Pulsar recently, so I'll put a 1 there. I'll put a 1 for the Harmony Conductor. I pulled a NMP recently, which is a negative mass projector, and 2 anti-cube portals, so it would look something like this. I don't know exactly what these columns stand for, the %A and the %T and all that. As you can see here, these were 8 unique modules that were recently pulled. It shows you the average gems required, I guess, for whatever. The next specific module pull, it says about 12,800, and then the pity set to 3,000, whatever that means. I'm not 100% sure what this stuff means. Maybe someone else could explain this a little bit better to me, but I haven't really paid much attention to this section. So I'm just going to go back here to the homepage for the modules. Now it looks like everything is filled out. Once everything is filled out now, the data entry part of the sheet is now complete. So now we can move on to the effective path sheet, and we can look. If we look at the master sheet here, this will just show everything that we filled in from before. Now, keep in mind, as I was saying earlier, I believe, on the regular effective path sheet, when you're in the master sheet section, do not update anything on this sheet, on this section. If you need to update any of the lab upgrades, you would go to the laboratory sheet and update the master sheet, the values in the master sheet for that. Same thing for the workshop. If you got to update anything here in the workshop plus, say you put another upgrade into the health regen, you would just update it like this, and then just key in the new value for that. I'm just going to put this back to 40 because that's what it was before. Also, I just wanted to point out that this concludes the tutorial itself. From here on out, if you're finished, you can stop watching at this point. The rest of the video will just be me breaking down the path sheet itself. Now, once everything is complete, there are 3 sections: EHP, eDamage, and Econ. Starting with EHP, there are 3 sections. The first section on the left is called the Effective Health Lab Path, and this is the time-focused path, basically saying what you should do first. In other words, what you should do first, I guess, in terms of time efficiency, And here it'll show you your total effective HP after that upgrade. So here it's saying for me to do the defense percent first to level 18, then to 19, and then do health twice, etc. All the way down the list. Now also, if you notice here, there are two black plus signs here. One is a health workshop plus path. So this is the effective path for health for EHP in the workshop plus. Here it just says to do health the whole time, and then defense absolute somewhere down the line, but obviously health would be better to do. Here it shows you the cost in coins and how much EHP. And then here is a section here, if we zoom in on that real fast, it tells you the total coin cost for that upgrade. And then here, if we do this upgrade as well, the total jumps to 12 because this plus this, it equals up to 12.72 trillion and so forth. Now zooming out, also there is a third section here. If I hit this plus sign here, this will expand into the wall regen lab path. This is if you want to work on your regen. This says to do the health regen followed by the wall regen. If you don't have wall, it's probably going to just say to do health regen the whole time. Also, if you notice here, in the effective lab path section, it only shows you the defense and health and the standard perk bonus and maybe some ultimate weapon things like Deathwave health. If you wanted to show wall upgrades, if we go over to the right here, there is a section in green here. There's a checkbox that says wall health, wall fortification, and wall recovery. Wall regen. We're going to click this checkbox. Now, if we go back over, it's going to show you wall upgrades. So now it's telling me to do defense and then wall fortification, etc. Now, obviously, take all this with a grain of salt. And over here, there is a section called user-specific guess. The enemies attacking together, leave that be. This part here, the chain lightning does percent of the total damage. This is used for chain thunder capping. If you don't have chain thunder, ignore this part. Here where it says ignore the target levels, this is if you on the lab sheet, if you put a bunch of target levels, if you leave this off, it's going to only show up to the target levels for those upgrades. If you want to ignore that, you're going to click this checkbox, and this may look completely different afterwards. So this is for the health, and then for the damage, here it says, there's a little note here to not trust these paths blindly. You could just click this and delete this note. As you can see here, for damage, there is as well a time focused path, and there's two plus signs up here with two different things to open up. One is the damage path with stones for your ultimate weapons, and then the third one is the for the workshop plus. Here it says that I should do super crit multiplier followed by rend armor followed by super crit multiplier, etc. And then here, if we go over to the far right, there are some other sections here. If you upgrade range, you would check off this box if you do the range labs, and then that'll update this here, the damage lab path, where eventually you'll see range show up here. Now for me, it says it's not going to show up for another 100 days or so. Now also, I forgot to mention here, there's a section called running time. If you notice, for duration, it'll show you how much time it'll take for each upgrade. Now this is depending on your lab speed and whatever you set your labs, whatever your relic says for your lab speed. I'm trying to see if I could find that here. I guess not. Okay. So here, the running time is whatever you set your cell boost to in the lab. So if you set everything to 2x speed up, you could set this to 2 times, and these will update accordingly. If you do 3 times everything, you could set that as well. I'm just going to leave this to 1x for the sake of the video. So as you can see here, this is for the time focused. This is the stone focused path for damage. It goes by your ultimate weapon. So here it's saying for me to do my chain lightning damage and then the quantity, etc. And then here for the damage in the workshop enhancements, it's saying for me to do rend armor and then super crit multiplier, etc. If you do not have workshop enhancements unlocked, you could hide this part by clicking on the plus sign up here, because it's not going to apply to you anyway at the moment. And then also, if you notice here, there are some things under user specific guess for the damage. The damage at percent rate range, I leave that at 25%. It says here, this is to determine how much the damage per meter is helping. I'm not sure about this, so I just leave it as is. Here, once again, if you want to ignore the target levels for all of the damage upgrades that you set in the lab sheet, if you want to disregard the target levels, you can click on the checkbox, and then these may update accordingly. Now, also, there is a section to hide ultimate weapon cooldown upgrades. So if I check this, it'll hide those, I guess, in the stone part. Because the only one I could think of would be, I guess, the cooldown for the smart missiles. And as you can see here, under the stone-focused path, it doesn't show anything. Also, I would like to point out here as well, it's telling me to do the chain early, and then it doesn't say to do the smart missiles until, like, almost last, and then the death wave damage last, according to this sheet. Obviously, you could do this first if you want, but that's your choice. You know, you do whatever you want. Anyways, there's also hide non-ultimate weapon labs. So it says here for this, it says, if you have chain lightning, it makes attack speed not hide. If you have spotlight plus, it makes the range and the damage per meter upgrades not hide. If you have the poison swamp rend, it makes the rend armor upgrades not hide. So if I check this now, it should change this sheet a little bit. As you can see now, for these, it doesn't show the rend armor anymore. But for the sake of this, I'm just going to leave this unchecked for now. The hits on the same target, I believe that has to do with smart missiles. I'm not 100% sure. Enemies inside SM area, I believe that's smart missiles as well. I don't mess with these at the moment, so I just leave them be. And then here it just shows you, according to the module preset and your cards, what your stats would be, such as your attack speed and all, your critical chance, etc. And then here, this section here, if you have the chain lightning ultimate weapon and you have the shock labs unlocked, you would leave this checked. And then this number here, this just says the average hits required to meet the max shock multiplier. It says aim for less than 100 hits. I guess these depend on your shock labs. And then here you can set the module preset. It says here, switching this to tournament will disable the perks and switch to tourney modules. And then it says to use that, you fill in the tourney modules preset to use that. So if I switch this to tournament, these will all change, and these upgrades may change accordingly. And then last but not least, we have Econ. Here, this will show you the effective path for your Econ, starting with the time-focused path in terms of labs. So for me, it's telling me to do a lot of coins kill bonus and so forth. It's telling me to do coins kill, The Death Wave coin kill bonus. Obviously, I'm guessing I missed a part or two on the lab because this should show a lot different, but this is what it's showing for me right now. Up here, there's 2 plus signs. We could expand this. This is the ultimate weapon path according to stones, generally. And then here, this is a sync toggle. You could turn this on or off. I leave it on. Basically, it's based off of the Multiverse Nexus math, so it works already at natural sync, or when using Multiverse Nexus, you could turn this on or off if you want. Here, it's telling me that I should do the black hole duration 2 times with my stones, and then do the Death Wave cooldown 3 times, followed by Spotlight Angle, etc. As you can see here. And then you could also expand this part. If you have Workshop enhancements, you could expand this section. And this just tells you what you would upgrade for Econ. And it looks like it's just the coin bonus in the Workshop enhancements. That if you scroll all the way over to the right, there are some user-specific guest things as well. Now, if you're running Multiverse Nexus, it's better to uncheck these 2, because if you don't, it'll keep these sync upgrades. It'll combine the cooldown upgrades for all 3 over here under the stone focused path. So since I use Multiverse Nexus, I'm going to uncheck these, and it should separate the cooldowns for the Golden Tower, the Death Wave, and the Black Hole here. Whereas if those were checked and this was unchecked, these would be combined, the cooldowns for the Death Wave and the Golden Tower, etc. Now, if we scroll down a little bit here, there's some more info. And then also, this section here, if you don't want to upgrade your golden bot in the lab, or your bot itself in the lab, like your golden bot, you would uncheck this. So because I have it checked, the golden bot upgrades would eventually show up in the lab for me on the time focus sheet. Here, it looks like it shows up somewhere down here after the Golden Tower duration, etc. And yeah, so that should be the whole sheet itself. And other than that, this could be used to generally give you, I guess, like a plan or like an idea of what to upgrade if you're unsure. Now, this is the sheet in itself. Now, I must say, as you upgrade your labs, your workshop, and your lab upgrades, you will need to manually upgrade your upgrades in the workshop and the lab. So, for example, let's say that my lab speed, or let's say my coins kill bonus, I upgraded it from, this should be 87, but let's just say my coins kill bonus, I updated this from 87 to 88. I would have to change this as such as 88, and then press enter. And then the same thing in the workshop sheet. So let's just say in the workshop, let's just say I put a couple more levels into the damage per meter. So now instead of it being 152, it would be 155, and then just press enter. Same thing for the workshop enhancements, if you do that as well. Let's just say I put 2 more levels in the health. So now instead of 45, it would be 47, like that, and then press enter. So when we go back to the regular effective path sheet, these will update accordingly. Now that I've done that, this sheet here now updated accordingly, and the Econ sheet, it updated accordingly as well, since I put the new coins kill bonus level in. Now this looks completely different. Obviously, I forgot to put in the Death Wave coin bonus just for the sake of this video, just to show what this would look like if I didn't upgrade that. I guess here it's telling me that I should do this first and then work on my Golden Tower duration, etc. And then same thing for the modules. If you make any changes in your module setup, you would need to update this sheet accordingly your modules preset sheet as well. And then the same thing for your cards. If the level of any of your cards do change, you would need to update that here under your cards sheet. And then same thing for the relics. If you get new relics, you'll mark them here in the relics sheet. Same thing for your bot. If you level up any of the stats for your bot, you would need to update that here under the bot sheet. Same thing for themes and songs. If you get any new skins or if you buy any new songs, you have to mark that off here, etc. And then for your ultimate weapon, any upgrades you make with stones, you will need to update that here accordingly as well on this list. So yeah, this is the full list. Hopefully this wasn't too tedious. Altogether, this may take up to 30 to 45 minutes to fill out. And hopefully this is helpful to you guys. If you guys enjoyed this type of video, leave a like, a comment, or even subscribe. Anyways, thank you, and I will see you all next time.